Hi there, this is Victor at StudyLab. Today we're going to discuss the very basics of Linux shell scripting. First of all, what is a shell script and why would you ever need to write one? Well, a shell script is basically an executable file containing a set of shell commands that are ran in sequence every time you execute it. So let's take a look at this small example so you can see what I mean by that. As you can see, I have a few simple shell commands in here to print text on the screen, cd into a directory, and list its files and subdirectories on the screen. So let's say I need to execute this sequence of commands frequently. Instead of typing them in the terminal each and every time, it's more convenient to save them into a script file and then execute the script. To do that, we would just run dot/ and then the name of the script, which in my case is test. Now, you might get this error if you've just created your script and are running it for the first time. It's because our script isn't executable yet. To make it executable, we run chmod +x and then the name of the script, which is test. And now the script runs successfully. So now that we know what a shell script is, what it looks like, and why we might sometimes need to work with shell scripts, let's discuss one more important issue, which is the shell interpreter. A shell interpreter is basically the program that parses, interprets, and understands your shell commands. There are many Linux shell interpreters out there, like SH, or Bourne shell, CSH or C shell, KSH or Corn shell, ZSH or Bash, which is the most popular nowadays and the default interpreter for most of the current Linux distributions. We're going to be focusing on Bash from now on, but you should know that within your shell script, you can specify which shell interpreter you want to use to interpret your script. This is done through the Shebang line. Let's look at some other scripts and you'll see what this is all about. So I have a few scripts in here that help me with the video editing on Linux. Let's take a look at one of these scripts. Okay, so no need to enter into the details of how this script works just yet, since we're simply dealing with the very basics. But let's take a look at the very first line in the script. The number sign or hash character followed by an exclamation mark or bang character is called shebang, hash-bang, hash-pling, hash-exclaim, or pound-bang. It has a lot of names. It's basically a readable magic number that tells the shell that it's dealing with a shell script. Now, the first line of a typical Linux shell script is called shebang line because it begins with this shebang character sequence. It is then followed by the absolute path to the shell interpreter that should be used. In this case, you can see that I've used bash as my shell interpreter. Sorry about that. So if we go into my bin directory and ls, you can see that I have the bash executable here. So Let's go back. That's why I have bin bash set up as my shell interpreter for this script. So why is this useful? Well, you can do all sorts of neat stuff like using PHP, Python, or Perl as your script interpreter. And let's see how that might work. Let's create a new shell script. We're going to call it test. Okay. And let's use Perl as our shell interpreter. Shebang bin Perl. And now let's print out hello world and a new line character. Save this. chmod plus x test to make it executable. And as you can see, let's clear it out first so you can see it better. So it now says hello world. Let's try Python. Let's edit our script again. So instead of bin Perl, I have my Python interpreter in the same directory. So bin/Python. And the syntax is a little different. Okay, let's save this and run it again. There we go. This is our Python script. Now it already adds a new line character actually, so that's not needed. Now it runs exactly the same as the previous Perl script. Obviously, you need to have these interpreters installed in order to use them. For instance, I don't have PHP installed right now, but you'd basically edit the script like so. Here you enter the path to the PHP executable and echo hello world. Save it, and now just for curiosity's sake, let's see what happens when we run this without having the PHP interpreter. Path to PHP, bad interpreter, no such file or directory. Okay, so we've done that. Now if we go back to my initial script and edit, you'll see that there's no shebang line here. In this case, your shell will interpret the script using the default shell interpreter. Alternatively, you could run the script like this, dash space your script name, and this will explicitly run the script using bash, or you can use whatever interpreter you want, sh, which is the born shell script interpreter test. But if I would use Python, that wouldn't work, because obviously Python has a different syntax. Anyway, as I said, we're going to be focusing on bash from now on. And before we wrap this up, I just want to end with one final super useful tip. In case you ever need to debug your scripts, you can do that by running dash -x and your script name. That will print out each command in your script before it runs, so you can better pinpoint where any issues occur. So if we hit enter, well, there's a bunch of things that bash does before running our script. but this is basically where it begins. This is the first line of our script, and bash echoes that line, and then it executes it and writes the result. Then it runs our second line, which is cd home Marion, then the third line, and so on. So this is very, very useful. Now you can also edit the script itself, and in this case we don't have a shebang line, and we do need it for this, in dash, and we can add the dash x argument to the shebang line itself, and then we can run the script as usual. Here, test, and then it should run it in debug mode. As you can see, it does. So if we edit that again and remove the dash x and run our script, it's now no longer in debug mode. Okay, so this is it for our very basic introduction into Linux shell scripting. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Make sure to subscribe if you're eager to see the next videos in this series or in future video series that I'm preparing. Until next time, have fun and keep studying.